1979 Hot Wheels. What a terrific year for the now ever popular, if it wasn't already, Hot Wheels cars from Mattel. This is an entire assortment of a nearly complete 1979 multiple lineups of cars. Everything from the Blackwalls to the Scorchers, as seen in the photo finish race sets. I have two of those that we'll take a quick look at as well. A cool year for race sets in general. Lots of neat tracks came out. And we'll have a quick example of how the Scorchers photo finish race set works, as well as a look at my almost complete Scorchers car set here. Only missing one car, which I will show you in my image collection of cars that I'm on the hunt for. As well, obviously, we're going to look at all of these awesome mainline cars that were released in this year, as well as some cool other cars such as the Heroes cars, the golden cars from the various six-packs, and the scene machines at the back, as well as some promotional vehicles such as the Toys R Us Jeffrey the Pickup Truck collection. Hold on while we look at all the values, the rare cars, and the interesting variations that 1979 brought to collectors of Hot Wheels cars. Hot Wheels Scorchers Photo Finish Race Set was released at the same time as the brand new series for 1979 Hot Wheels Scorchers. Here we will be looking at my collection of 11 out of 12 of all of the Scorchers released in this year, the most of any of the next 3 years that Scorchers were made. All of them mint examples. We'll go through each of their names. These are wind-back vehicles, self-propelled, that launch themselves down a very interesting track, one of a kind really, and stop in a race gate that shows you exactly which car wins the race. I have set up a small example here, a small portion of the track, as a full track review is forthcoming. I don't have the time in this 1979 video to show you the full track layout, as we have so many cool vehicles to look at, so many rare examples. A lot of interesting variations came out in this year, and we're going to be looking at some of the most valuable variations, well, all of them really. I have every variation of every car released in 1979, pretty much all of them in mint condition, with the exception of one or two of them. But those ones are so hard to find, it's nearly impossible to get a mint example without spending well over $1,000. We will look at all of these awesome vehicles in the next several minutes, starting with the main lines, not the ones we're looking at currently here. We have the golden machines and the scene machines, but we will start alphabetically with the mainline cars, and let's take a look at those, following up with finally those awesome Scorcher cars. Let's zoom in for a rundown on just the names of the vehicles, and then we'll look at more details on pricing and variations. Unless where noted, most of these vehicles will be worth about the same amount nowadays if found in mint loose condition. That is how I base my pricing, so this is not to be taken as beat up, chipped up Hot Wheels. You're looking at mint pricing here for my price guide. Most of these cars will cost you somewhere in the neighborhood of between $10 and $30 American, and that would give you a mint example of any of the vehicles that I don't otherwise specify a different value. And there are several, there are quite a few in here that are worth quite a bit more than some of the others. Take for example this white, yellow, and black stripe Vetti Funny with mongoose tampos. Saw a mint example sell 2 months ago for $900 US. Mine's a bit beat up. It's one of the few that I have that has a few chips on it. I just couldn't afford to pay the top dollar pricing of a mint one on that. But anyways, just to give you a little bit of a heads up on the pricing, some people will disagree with the pricing. This is my experience of how much these cars cost from the years and years I've been buying vintage loose Blackwalls and all Hot Wheels through the years to amass this pretty much nearly complete collection. Let's start with an identification of all of these vehicles. A short summary. We have the 56 Hightail Hauler, two variations here, black and yellow interior. Auburn 852, Bubble Gunner, Bywayman, California Cruisin', also known as the Supervan, Corvette Stingray, Dumpin' A, and the Fire Chaser, formerly the Highway Patrol car. Flat Out 442, two variations there. GMC Motorhome, Greased Gremlin, Hair Splitter, Inside Story, Letter Getter, Large Charge, Monte Carlo Stalker. Royal Flash, two variations. Show Hoss 2, Spacer Racer, couple variations there as well. Torino Stalker, Teetotaler, Up Front 924, Vetty Funny. And now look at the Golden Machine 6-pack exclusive vehicles. These were 6-pack exclusives only. Corvette Stingray, Hotbird, Jaguar XJS, Racebait 308, Spoiler Sport, couple variations to look at. Z-Wiz. Not pictured is the Top Eliminator, which was previously released in 1978. Cars previously released in years prior are not shown. These are new vehicles only for the year 1979 and onwards for future videos. A brand new series for 1979 included the Heroes selection. First, Human Torch, Captain America, couple variations there, Spider-Man, the Incredible Hulk. Check out all the variations. Can you tell the difference yet? I'll explain to you in a few moments. The Thing and Thor. Two variations of that van. Also new this year are the Scene Machines, starting with Captain America, Motocross Team, SWAT, Space Van, Spider-Man, and the Incredible Hulk. Rounding out the collection of Blackwall vehicles, I have two examples here of the promotional Toys R Us release only, very hard to find vehicle, especially in this condition. Bywayman with the Toys R Us Jeffrey the Giraffe on the sides. We'll look at those as well. And now on to the Scorchers. Chevy Light, Cool Capri, El Camino Real, Cookin' Camaro, Capri Turbo, Magnum Fever, Magnum XE, White Thunder, Blackbird, Good Lookin', and Vandemonium. Not pictured, as I do not have it in my collection, is the Zappin Z28. As far as pricing goes on the Scorchers, these vehicles are very hard to find in the mint condition that you see the ones here. Most of the time they're going to have some damage, some scratches on those highly shiny chrome windows that they all feature. They all have rubber tires on the windback rear axle, often which are cracked and missing. The bases are quite often scuffed or scratched from play, as they do feature a black plastic base on each of them. And more often than not, the windback motor itself is pooched, and the vehicles don't function or don't function as originally designed. These examples that you're looking at are all unplayed with. Came from all one seller. I bought these quite a little while ago, but it took me a long time to find them. And up until then I was piecing together, you know, whatever I could find, broken ones, chipped ones, well played with ones, just so I could have some examples in my collection. Thereby I can tell you that the price of these vehicles in this condition is pretty much packaged only, and if you are so lucky to find them mint loose like this, expect to pay at least $20 to $30 per car. Some cars will run you up into the $50 to $70 depending on supply and demand. For instance, if I'm shopping for that brown Camaro, likely I'm going to pay a pretty hefty price for it now to complete my collection. And often there are people out there with, some parts of this collection missing that are eager to finish it. And when mint loose examples such as these come up, you really have to fight for them. These cars, there are 2 examples of each vehicle released. There were 2 El Caminos, 2 Ford Capris, 2 Camaro Z28s, 2 of these Dodge Magnums, a very interesting large 2-door car of yesteryear, 2 Ford Thunderbirds, and 2 of these prototype Chrysler minivan panel vans featuring an opera window on the back. Predating the first minivans entirely, these were concept vehicles of the time. The 56 Hightail Hauler is a very popular casting, and as such, many of these blue ones with the yellow interior were released in 1979. However, there is a rare variation, blue body with a black interior, and this variation stems from an excess of black interior from the orange release in the year prior, 1978. All orange trucks had a black interior, and they must have had a few extra black interiors lying around on the assembly line when they first started making these blue ones. So this would be a first release of the Hightail Hauler, and very quickly after they had the yellow interiors replace that black interior. Hence, the vehicle with the black interior is worth a lot of money. In mint condition, it's nearly impossible to find, and this one here cost me $100. The blue one with the yellow interior, however, is usually worth around $15 to $20 in mint loose condition. The Auburn 852 is a beautifully rendered casting by Mattel for Hot Wheels this year. Brand new release, never seen before, and is featured here with bright red enamel paint, dark brown fenders, and a metal base. These vehicles usually run around $10 in mint condition. Another new casting is the Bubble Gunner, a fantasy vehicle featuring a giant plastic chrome motor, metal base with metal tanks on the side, and an interesting single-seat cabin with a yellow bubble windshield. This vehicle is pretty hard to find in mint condition. Mine is not mint, but in very good condition, and still set me back in the neighborhood of $25 or so. Mint, I would expect this car could fetch as high as $40 to $50. The Bywayman is an incredibly popular and new casting for the year, based on a Ford pickup truck of the same era. It's got Baja lights on the top, a black plastic interior with bed liner, and otherwise all metal with a very Americano type tampo on the side of an eagle. This truck was widely produced and is pretty easy to find, but in mint condition will probably set you back in the neighborhood of around $20 nowadays. The Supervan is still wearing its chrome paint from the year prior, but now features a new tampo on the side. An artistic rendering of a hot rod utilizing the back wheel of the van itself. This vehicle is all metal, fairly difficult to find in mint condition, and will probably run you around $30. The Corvette Stingray makes appearance again, now featuring yellow paint with a very similar tampo from years prior. This car is worth about $15 to $20. The Dumpin' A is a new casting for the year called A Truckin' on the side. This is based on a Ford Model A, featuring a very nifty tilting plastic dump bucket, brown fenders, and a metal base. The Fire Chaser, formerly known as the patrol car in former years when it had a police tampo on it, now has the Fire Chief tampo with the number 5. This is the most common version. You'll see why. There's 3 of them out here in a second. It has a white number 5. This one here, although hard to tell on camera, is a brighter red. This one has the dull red paint and slightly darker. And then here is a hard one to find. I have only ever seen one example, and this is it. It has a yellow number 5 in the tampo versus the white. So most likely just a tampo error, possibly out of white. But if there were more out there, it could be a rare variation. All these cars only cost me about $10 each in this condition. The Flat Out 442 is a new casting for the year, based on an Oldsmobile 442 stock car. This thing is a very heavy, well-built car, and features a nice orange enamel paint job, lots of details on the front grille and hood scoop. Two variations here to look at. It's a tampo variation. This one here is the common version and features a blue pentagon under the bell tampo forward of the back wheel, as well as a blue Goodyear tampo above the GT tampo. Now, the rare variation of these two cars has a white Goodyear tampo above GT and no pentagon. Much harder to find. This car can run you anywhere $40 to $50. I think I spent around $45 for mine, whereas the pentagon version in mint condition should cost you around $20. The awesome GMC motorhome casting makes a return with the same paint job and tampos as seen in 1977, however now featuring a chrome plastic base on it. That is the only difference between this vehicle and its former predecessors. This truck in mint condition is worth around $30 to $40. The Greased Gremlin is one of my personal favorite castings, a brand new one as well for this year. It features an all-metal yellow base, metal red top, and chrome plastic pipes with black plastic interior and lots of other details on it. A really cool car, based on a modified dirt track AMC Gremlin of the time. This car here in mint condition is worth around $15 to $20, as it is a fairly common one, and an identical version of this will be later released in 1982 with a Malaysia stamped base versus this Hong Kong stamped base, as all of the cars here still have a Hong Kong base on them. Yet another new casting is the Hair Splitter, based off of a Volkswagen Rabbit. This is a rally version featuring an actual Hot Wheels wheel on the top, spare tire, really cool race tampos on it, an opening plastic hood, and a very substantial all-metal casting body and base. This car is quite popular, especially amongst Volkswagen enthusiasts, and has kind of skyrocketed in price over the years, now fetching anywhere between $20 and $30 mint loose. Inside story. This is based on a futuristic van. It has a silver metal body with a black plastic base. A fairly common vehicle. Chrome interior, looks quite interesting in the back there. Not really sure what we're looking at, but nonetheless slightly hard to find in mint condition, worth about $5 to $10. Important to note that in 1984 this same vehicle was released in Mexico with yellow tint windows. Those are much harder to find, but otherwise identical. Like the GMC motorhome, this Letter Getter is a re-release from the 1977 lineup, now featuring a black plastic base versus the metal base seen previously. Other than that, there are no differences. Of course, it's not available with redline wheels either now, which it was in 1977, but it's a fairly hard vehicle to find with its tampos in mint condition on the side. Although built probably in great numbers, these vehicles can command anywhere between $30 and $40. The Large Charge casting makes another debut for the year. This is a previously released casting, now featuring an orange paint job and a snazzy purple tampo with a dark purple magenta outline. Based on some sort of electric futuristic car, it is a good one on the racetrack and worth probably about $15 to $20 in this condition. The Monte Carlo Stalker now features a dark blue paint job with snazzy racing tampo work on it. This is a hard car to find in mint condition, and for obvious reasons. It's just pure awesome in my opinion, and many others I believe. Price does reflect that. A car in this condition can run you anywhere between $75 and $90. Although a fairly common car at the time, it was a favorite amongst kids and collectors, and hence has become quite scarce in this condition. The Royal Flash, a new casting based on a Lotus, as obviously seen by the tampo work on the hoods. Two variations exist for this car, both pretty much equally easy to find. It was a common car at the time. You've got the black tinted window version and the blue tinted window version. These cars have a sturdy all metal construction with the addition of a black front spoiler and rear bumper. These cars are usually worth around $15 mint condition. Show Hoss 2, based on a Mustang 2. This is a drag car that has been released in prior years, but now features a really cool green paint job, black plastic roll cage interior, and of course the tilting chassis. In this condition, this car can easily run you between $35 and $50. This one cost me $45. Spacer Racer, two odd looking futuristic vehicles. One pictured here has red enamel paint, the other one has burgundy metallic paint. The burgundy metallic painted version is much more common and was also released in 1980 with a Malaysia stamped base, whereas this one has Hong Kong on it. This red enamel version, however, is quite difficult to find. I should note that these guns do rotate as well, and can run you quite a bit more than this version. This one here cost me $35, whereas this one probably worth about $5 to $10 mint loose. Other than a wonky back wheel, mine is pretty much mint. It's a shame about that. Torino Stalker. This is a new popular casting for the year based on a Ford Grand Torino. This one has an awesome black paint job, really cool racing tampos, a black plastic hood scoop, and a super shiny chrome base, which is the exact same base as the Monte Carlo Stalker. This was a cost-saving method at the time. Similarly done with the Super Van and some other castings, as well as the Bywayman sharing its base with the Baja Breaker. At any rate, this car is pretty tough to find in mint condition, but easy to find in less than mint condition for around $10 to $15. Mint condition will probably run about $25. The Teetotaler makes a reappearance for this year, now featuring a brown enamel paint job. Same Tampa work as in 1977 as seen on the black Teetotaler, and the same gold chrome plastic base. This is a much harder color variation to find than the black ones of years prior, other than the redline version of course, and will cost around $25 to find mint loose. A sharp new casting for the year, the Upfront 924 based on a Porsche 924. Really nice metal casting, detailed plastic interior, seen through these clear, lightly smoke tinted windows. Metal base with plastic accent pieces sticking out along the sides from the interior, as well as the nose piece and the bumpers at the back. I really like this casting. It's pretty tough to find in mint condition, I've found, but this one only cost me about $20 or $25. So you can pick them up fairly easily in lesser condition for quite a cheap price. The Vetti Funny, a popular new casting for the year based on a Corvette funny car, features the tilt-up base and body as you can see, all metal interior and roll cage. Two variations to look at here. The first and most common one is the Tom McEwen Mongoose with red, yellow, and black tampos, English leather, and lots of good racing tampos on it as well. Exposed metal engine and exhaust pipes from the base, really cool feature. This car will also be released in 1980 with a Malaysia base, whereas this one here has the Hong Kong base. Mint, this car sells for $30 or around there. This car here, however, is a very, very, very rare variation featuring white, black, and yellow tampos all the way through the car and no red at all. Note that this one does not have any white on it. This rare variation set me back $100 in this condition, and that was years ago. I saw another one come up for sale about 2 years ago, and it sold for $300 US, which at the time was about 500 Canadian for me. And recently, just in the last couple of months, another one came up for sale, so not very often do you see these. It sold for $650 US, which was about 900 Canadian for me. Unfortunately, even though I was bidding on it, I had no idea it was going to go that high. And I was prepared to spend the $300 I missed out on before, but not as much as it did. The book value on this car is completely incorrect if you see it anywhere else. So take my word for it, I've been following this car for a long time. And if you have a mint loose one you want to sell to me for around $300 to $350, I would happily pay that. The Golden Machines came in 6 packs only. They were exclusive to the 6-car box sets and featured a whole bunch of new castings with the very shiny gold paint jobs and similar tampos to other cars of the era. One of the cars in the Gold Machines was a re-release from 1978. That was the Top Eliminator. This car here we discussed in that 1978 video. Not all Golden Machine 6-packs had the same vehicles in them, as there are 8 cars here to look at and only 6 in each box. So some are a bit more valuable than others, also due to popularity. For instance, this Corvette Stingray is worth about $50 mint loose, as is the Hotbird, and the Jaguar XJS is worth about $25. Racebait 308, that one's worth about $20. We're going to discuss the spoiler sports in just a moment. The Z-Wiz, very popular car of course, based on a Datsun 280Z, is worth also about $50. The spoiler sports here are fairly easy to buy at a lower cost. 2 variations exist, however, which make them more interesting to collectors. One features the original 2-slot back window, and then the newer casting for this year featuring 1 big window. So this vehicle is a re-released casting from 1977. Back in those days there was only the 2-slot windows on the back, and during this year there was a changeover to the 1 window on the back of this vehicle, which we'll also discuss in the variations in the Incredible Hulk coming up in a moment. Anyways, pricing for these 2 vehicles is roughly the same, as a lot of people that list them for sale or have them for sale at flea markets don't even know about this variation. And usually you can buy these vehicles for about $15 to $20 mint loose. So that covers the Golden Machines for 1979. This Toys R Us promotional of the Bywayman, I'm not sure if it was a mail away or an in-store exclusive or what the full story is on it. It does come in a card back with blister. However, both examples of mine, of course, are mint loose, or nearly mint loose. These are the same vehicle, I've just got 2 of them, so I figured I'd bring them out for the show. Very nice truck, of course, just like the blue version. However, now featuring the purple and black ribbon on the side, with Jeffrey the giraffe's head poking above it. These cars can run anywhere between $100 and $150 mint loose, and even more when found in the packaging. The Scene Machines assortment of vehicles was available individually on card backs, and each of these vehicles featured a transparent window on the back of the vehicle. When you look through the window, you can see a scene inside of the vehicle. You do have to hold it up to the light, as it utilizes the front windscreen of the vehicle to provide the illumination through the semi-transparent scene on the back of the vehicle. Here you can see a glimpse of the scene in the GMC motorhome. Captain America flinging a disc actually inside the motorhome. You can tell by the windows. That is the Captain America, and there he is flinging the disc on the outside. Really nice example of this GMC motorhome. Quite a valuable piece. Red plastic base. In mint condition, this can run you anywhere between $30 and $50, sometimes more. Motocross team. You can see a fella in there on his motorcycle inside the van. The driver looking back at him. And some other things on the floor. Looks like some equipment. That is on the Motocross Team Baja Breaker. All metal with a black plastic hood that opens. This is quite a valuable piece in mint condition such as this. I paid $55 for it, and I have seen it sell for as high as $75 mint loose. SWAT team van. Here you can see 2 fellas with a German Shepherd guard dog Getting ready to pounce out the back of this van. And here it is on the outside. Guard dogs inside. It says SWAT. Really cool van. Another tough piece to find in mint condition. This one cost me about $45. I've seen it sell for well into the 50s and even 60s. Space van. This one's tough to see because the window is so small. There's a lot going on in here. You can see it's a very roomy vehicle by the look of things. It's flying on some sort of moon type terrain with explosions happening on the view screens. A couple guards in there in spacesuits. So a whole lot going on in this space van. Really nifty 6-wheeled vehicle. Put it down. I got the old arm twerk going here. And one of the more harder to find vehicles in good shape. This one cost me about $30. The book value on it was about $90 back when there used to be some guides on it. I think it's come down a bit in value. I've never actually seen it sell for more than about $45. But definitely a cool piece and probably one of the most interesting interior scenes in my opinion. Spider-Man. There he is shooting a web at something. Not really sure if he's inside a van or not. Doesn't really look like it. He's got someone in his snare. Anyways, that's the Spider-Man van. Amazing Spider-Man it's called. Red interior coming through on the headlights. This is otherwise known as the inside story. Another pretty tough vehicle to find. I think this one's worth about $35. It really depends on who's out looking for these things at the time if you're buying them on eBay. But all to say, a cool vehicle. Incredible Hulk. There he is busting through the back of the van from the front. All sorts of stuff going on in there. Explosions and debris flying everywhere. It's hard to focus on these ones because the big view screen has some minor flaws that the camera's trying to pick up. All to say, this is one of my favorite Scene Machine vehicles. It's got really cool tampos on the side of it. And a cool interior scene when you can see it clearly. Black plastic base. This is the letter getter, but with a different paint job, of course. This is one of the most valuable of the set, and I have also seen this one run upwards of $75 to $100 at times. However, most days you should probably be able to get it for about $60 to $70 mint loose. The Heroes cars. 6 different cars, lots of different variations, all comic book related artwork on them, and special packaging for this lineup of cars back in '79. Let's start by looking at the Human Torch. This was formerly the Army Funny Car casting. Still features the opening body, but in a new black paint job. With, there he is, the flying Human Torch guy, surrounded by fire and all sorts of other cool tampo work on the sides and roof. That car is worth about $20 to $30 in mint loose condition. Then on to the Captain America Hotbird car. We've got 2 examples here. One has a red interior and the other has an orange interior. Otherwise both identical, all metal castings. Really cool American type tampo work on it. And the red car is a little easier to find in my opinion. That one cost me about $50. The orange one, because it's in slightly worse, well, a lot worse condition, this one's mint. This one was about $30, and I've yet to see a mint one come up for sale. I have been looking for quite some time. I would expect it to be more if the seller knows about the red and orange interior variations. Hopefully he doesn't. Then we're on to Spider-Man. Another Spider-Man vehicle for this year. Certainly no van though. This one is some sort of spider-shaped concept vehicle. Quite heavy. Good on the racetrack. And features an orange tinted bubble window. The old guidebooks told me that there was a red tinted window version, but I've actually never seen it. So hard to say if it was just color fade or slight variations in the plastic. Now on to the Spoiler Sport casting. This one is called the Incredible Hulk for a good reason. There he is on the side. Got a whole bunch of them, and at first glance they look all the same with the exception of this one. This one has dark tinted windows on it. But I think this might be a UV issue. Not really 100% sure. Upon close examination of the windows in the back, they do appear somewhat blue. but it is very atypical to see such a color variation from UV rays without fading of the tampo. So not 100% certain on that. Could be a rare variation. I wasn't even looking for this one. It just popped up when I saw it. Like, wow. Normally that one has like crystal blue windows, and this one is clearly some variation of a smoked olive drab. The remaining variations have to do with the lemon yellow and dark yellow paint, which was common amongst yellow vehicles throughout the 1970s. The two on the right are the dark yellow, and the two on the left here are the lemon yellow. Not sure if the camera's going to pick that up or not. Further breaking down the variations though, we've got the 2-window on the back and the single window with parachute on the right. Both variations also exist in the dark yellow version. Generally all these vehicles cost about the same. However, in my experience, some of them were harder to find. I can't remember at this point now which they were, and I didn't keep proper track with my notes, unfortunately. But if you're looking for these vehicles, typically they can be bought mint condition for around $15, and sometimes I think I paid $25 for ones I was looking for that I didn't have. The Thing. This is the Poison Pinto casting. Pretty cool car. Nice to see it with the blue paint job and the big Thing guy on the side. Chrome engine, of course. This one can be bought for around $20 in mint condition. And finally, 2 examples of the Thor Supervan. One is the lemon yellow, the other is the dark yellow version. Other than that, no difference. These also can be bought for around $20 mint loose. Now let's take a quick look at how some of these Scorchers work, in case you've never seen them in action. Pressing down, you gotta wind it back. That should be plenty. And on to the racetrack. Away you go. That one seems to have run out of steam, but normally when the car impacts that at speed, this will lock the car down after the car impacts the end of the clear tray. Let's see if we can have another car with a little bit more gumption. Maybe the Capri Turbo will have some turbo oomph that the old White Thunder doesn't. And away you go. I realize now that the problem isn't just with this car not having enough gumption. This one seems to have quite a bit more, as you'll see in a second. But there's supposed to be an elastic band that the car contacts in here, because even when it hits it with speed, there you go. It does work without the elastic band, but normally you're supposed to wind an elastic band around these plastic little doodads, and the car will hit the elastic band actually, and that's what will lock it down a lot quicker than just the impact of hitting the plastic tray. Let's go head to head. The Capri Turbo and how about that Camaro. See if we can get them both at the same time. Ready, set, go. Yep, works well enough. These cars originally would have had enough power to go all the way around this entire track setup. I think you might have a little bit of trouble now just with the age of the vehicles. These are my played with examples. I wouldn't dare try this with my mint examples, even though they may work quite well. I just don't want to risk any damage to them. Let's do one last race with our winning Turbo Capri versus the Vandemonium. See who's got more gumption. Alright. And they're off. Oh, the green Vandemonium's got lots of power. Let's see that again in replay. Now it's time for a burnout. Cool. One other thing to note is that these cars do free roll quite well. You don't need to rely on the motors, so they can work on tracks that don't require powered vehicles, such as ones with boosters, although they're not quite as fast due to the drag with all the rubber tires and little motors in them. Stay tuned for more videos to come, more racing action when we get into the track reviews later on. Still got lots of years to get through here. Next one up is 1980. We're going to get into the 1980s Hot Wheels. Lots of cool cars to look at. Thanks again for stopping by the Hot Wheels room. Happy hunting.